Good morning everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Today's video I'm going to be talking about training and managing an injury. And I wanted to do a video on this because, well, that's currently what I'm going through. So before we dive into today's video, I obviously want to premise this by saying I am not an expert. I'm talking purely from my own experiences and what I'm currently going through and what I've spoken about with my physio and things that I'm doing that work for me. If you have followed along, you'll know that I am currently in the process of running and learning how to run. And for those that are new here to my channel, basically I started to run this year. I ran a 5K race and I've run a half marathon distance, and now I'm ultimately training and getting my body prepared to run the London Marathon in April next year. However, if you saw my video last week, and if you haven't, feel free to go back and watch it. It's just a vlog of my week. You'll see that I came up with a little injury. Specifically that my right foot was feeling a bit sore. I went to the physio for it, and the physio basically said words that if you're a runner, you know, like kind of screams alarm bells. The words stress fracture. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, I don't actually have a stress fracture, but it did say, my physio did say that it could be heading that way. So I've had to take a massive step back, because if you get a stress fracture, like that can put you out of running for months. And I mean like 6 to 9 months to a year. So can you boys stop? So I wanted to talk about what I am doing to now manage my injury with my foot to make sure that I can still sort of achieve my goals and make sure that I'm maintaining my fitness so that ultimately when I can get back into my running, I am not in too much of a worse shape than when I left. So my first little tip, if you are someone who's feeling a little bit of a niggle or like an injury coming on, my first tip would be actually to go get it checked out by someone like a physio. I actually see my physio quite regularly, and I have mentioned this a few times in my videos that I see my physio like honestly once a week, if not once a fortnight at this point. And the reason that is like I have really overactive muscles. What I mean by that is that I literally have such tight muscles that just can't seem to relax. Like even when I'm sleeping, we've noticed my calves seem to like constantly like tense, and just I seem to just have very tight overactive muscles. So I can feel like niggles and injuries coming on maybe a little bit more frequently than is normal. So I like to see my physio all the time. And I'm really glad I did, because if I had ignored my foot problem, we could have been at the phase of like you're getting a stress fracture, like, or you have a stress fracture. So my first little tip is, if you feel like a little niggle coming on, is definitely go get it checked out, because the sooner that you get it looked at, the sooner you can sort of take action to sort of prevent any injury actually occurring. Nip it in the bud with like a little niggle versus like a full-blown injury. My second tip, and this is particularly if you are someone who's running like me, is make sure that you're wearing like the appropriate footwear, or make sure if if it's a different sport, make sure you're well supported in like your tools and equipment. For me, that was like making sure that my trainers are good. And don't get me wrong, my trainers were great. I got fitted for proper shoes, but now I've just bought a new pair of trainers, as you will have seen in my last video, that are going to provide just that little bit of extra support for me to hopefully prevent any further damage or injury. My next little tip, cross train. So for me, because I'm training for a marathon, I had to take a step back and go, okay, no running. And that is actually really hard to do. And I think a lot of people who are running or training for an event can really struggle to actually do that. But if you're told you need to take a step back and even stop doing that sport, you actually have to do it. I know it's really scary, but what you can do instead is cross train. So for me, instead of going for runs at the moment, I'm very much getting into the bike. As you will have seen from my clip earlier, like this morning, I decided to do a 20K bike ride instead. So in summary, if you are told that you need to take a step back from doing that sport or doing that thing that's actually causing more damage to your injury, actually do it. Figure out alternative measures. And like if you are seeing a physio, they will absolutely be able to provide them. So my physio said to me, like, cross training, go on the bike, go on the rower, avoiding things like the elliptical and the step up that's actually going to put any more pressure on the injury. I've also actually decided for me personally to take a step back from training lower body, because ever since my foot injury, my entire right leg has just not felt the same. Yeah, until I see my physio next, I was just like, I'm going to play it safe and just avoid lower body altogether. So what I've had to do is actually reshape my week so that I'm still getting adequate training in without doing any more damage or causing further pain or anything like that. What my split prior to injury looked like is that I would do like a push-pull leg like / lower body session 3 days a week, and then I'd run 3 days a week. So at the moment, I've decided to cut lower body and obviously any running. So I've reshaped my week so that I still find that I'm having an effective training week. So for me, that looks like Monday, push session, Tuesday, bike, Wednesday, pull session, Thursday, bike. Friday, core and like a bit of bike maybe. So I still want to get that cardiovascular training in and still pushing myself without having that extra load placed on my foot, and also still maintaining that strength training through upper body training sessions. So whilst it can be disheartening that if you're injured, you know, you can't do the thing that you love or the thing that you're training for, there should still be ways that you can work around it, even if that's just stretching or yoga or whatever it may be. But again, talk to your health professional, talk to your physio about it. But I guarantee there'll be something that you can do, unless obviously it's really fucking bad. My next little tip is explore alternative therapies. And by that I mean things like doing an ice bath. If you haven't seen my video on ice baths, feel free to go check it out, but ice baths are known for having amazing recovery benefits. The other thing that I've actually started doing, which was again sort of spoken about with my physios, I've actually bought a cupping set. It's very strange. It's a very strange sensation, but I'm trying it out because particularly with my calves that seem to get very, very tight very quickly. And I think the injury in my foot is a buildup of like tight calves and tight quads and just the heavy impact. I've decided to buy my own cupping set so I can kind of break down any adhesions in my skin and my muscles and try and relax them myself at home. It might be worth, if you are injured or feeling a little niggle, is exploring some alternative therapies such as ice bath or cupping set, something that might be a little additional help that you can do yourself at home. If you don't have an ice bath or a cupping set because you're not like extra like me, cold showers, self-massage, things like that. Stuff that you might be able to do for yourself that might assist your rehabilitation and help you recover from injury just a little bit. My last little tip, if you're injured and you're actually really sore, really tired, rest. It is okay to take a break. As scary as it can be taking a rest, which we've already covered, sometimes it's actually just what your body needs. Obviously, depending on the injury that you're dealing with, your rest period might be short, it might be longer, but ultimately at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do, which I think many people tend to do, is training through injury without getting the injury looked at, because you're just like, oh, I'm going to suck it up, I'll take some Nurofen or whatever it may be. And it's actually quite severe. You can make the damage 10 times worse and then prolong recovery, and actually then you might hinder your chance to actually proceed with the event or whatever it may be that you're training for. As easy as it can be to just suck it up, I'd really recommend that if you are feeling injured, stop, get it looked at, and if you're told to rest, take that rest break. All right, guys, that wraps up my little pep talk for the day. I know everything I said was very self-explanatory and honestly not rocket science, but I think for many people who are training quite hard, it can be very easy to get caught up in it and not take any signs of injury or your injury that you've already got seriously. So this was just a little pep talk to even myself. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. We do all the things together here, and catch you in the next video. Bye.